All right. Good afternoon. Good evening, rather. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to First Thursday Live. We are having it this Thursday because last Thursday we had some technical difficulties, so we wanted to make sure that we did not cancel and was able to bring you Miss Gia Hunter. So she is our featured business owner today. So we will get to her in just a second. First, I want to kind of give you a quick rundown on what we have going on in the chamber. So, of course, always visit us at our website, mygabc.org. That website, we have a calendar so you can see all the different events that we got going on. You can join. You can join us if you would like. And some of the events that we got going on right now include we do have a military and veteran affairs bi-monthly meeting that is on February 17th. We have our resource fair next week, February the 18th. That will be at the Kroc Center. We will have our after hours networking, which is on March the 5th at Studio Neighbor Bar. March is Women's Month. So March 22nd is our 4th annual women's brunch at Russell's Wedding Events. We would love to see you there, all of us women, all of you women out there. Please come out and celebrate with us. In April 25th, we have our annual gathering. Tickets are on sale now. That will be held at the River Room. And then, of course, we do have our CSRA Economic Impact Call that happens the first Friday of the month. That gives out a lot of great information. So please feel free to join us on the first Friday of the month. Again, you can find all of these events on our calendar on our website, which is mygabc.org. Okay, so let's get into this. So today we have Miss Gia Hunter. She is the founder and owner and CEO of TalentWorks Consulting. TalentWorks Consulting is an HR consulting and leadership development firm, and she is dedicated to helping small businesses scale and Black female middle managers thrive through strategic people development. At some point, I'm gonna have to come talk to you. TalentWorks provide HR support, coaching, and team building solutions that empower leaders to build strong, high-performing teams. Little bit of background, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background, but I'm going to let her talk more about herself. Yeah, we're going to get all in your business for a little while.
Okay.
But she has a bachelor's degree from North Carolina A&T State University, an MBA from the University of Phoenix, and she is a Berkman certified professional. She's a dedicated leader. She served on various boards and was a proud member of the Leadership Augusta's Best Class Ever in 2022. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about yourself. Are you originally from Augusta? If not, what brought you to Augusta?
Okay, so no, I'm not from Augusta. I'm from the Maryland, Pennsylvania area. So as my bio states, I went to North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride. I actually started working for a large company in Maryland, and I got a call about an opportunity here in Augusta. So had to Google where Augusta was. But I was like, oh, Masters tournament. It's so much more than just the Masters tournament. But so I moved here about 10 years ago. So it's been 10 years last October that I moved down here.
Okay. So you're like me. You kind of came here because I'm not originally from here either.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you. You say you are a Berkman certified professional. So someone like me that's not really big into HR,
Yeah.
What is that?
Great question. So if you're familiar with personality assessments like Myers-Briggs or Enneagram, things like that, Discovery Insights. So it's similar to that. It goes a little bit deeper in that it tells you through a series of questions, okay, how do you show up? Like what are your strengths essentially? How do others perceive you? But then it also talks about what are your needs? So in order to show up like that, what do you need? So, and also, what does your stress behavior look like? So it can be very powerful for leaders and for teams as they start to kind of navigate and work through team dynamics. So I got that certification about 5 years ago, and it's been really, really insightful.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to talk offline about that one.
Yeah.
So you got the certification, and of course you're doing HR, so that kind of fits into, you're developing people from on the HR side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at all your different certifications, and then are there any that you're striving to get?
Not right now. So my my toxic trait sometimes is getting certifications that I never use. So there's nothing that I want to get right now. If anything, maybe a coaching, like an official like coaching from the International Coaching Federation. But I mean, I also have 20 years of experience. So like, is a certification really going to help at this point? I mean, I always want to learn and keep growing, and I do read a lot. So, but I don't know about another certification right now.
Right now. Okay. I like it. I like it. Okay, so we're gonna switch gears for a minute.
Okay.
How have you? Well, I know you say you've worked, I guess corporate America.
Yeah.
So how long have you been been a business owner, and kind of what led you to your business?
Yeah. So I started my business actually a year ago this month. So I'm 1 year old.
Oh, happy anniversary!
Yeah. 1 year old. 1 year old. Learned a lot. But actually, before I left my corporate America, it was something I was thinking about kind of on and off for the last couple of years. I mean, I have a lot of knowledge in HR and leadership and how business works, and I really wanted to have a more flexible schedule and, set my priorities and help the target audiences that I wanted to help. And also when I was a kid, my dad worked at a series of jobs, mainly in sales and like as an independent contractor for several companies. My mom was an educator for many years. And then when she retired, she actually started her own education consulting company before she passed away.
Wow.
So I feel like I'm not new to the hustle because I've seen my parents do it and they kind of set the blueprint for me. So I'm really just kind of following in their footsteps. So.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. So what did your journey look like? What does your journey look like from start to finish? Any roadblocks, anything that was just like I hate to say a dull moment, but a dull moment.
Lots of those. I think looking over this past year, you wear many hats as a business owner. I think I might have said this before, like I'm IT, I'm finance, I'm marketing, besides just the HR consulting piece. Like the HR piece I can kind of do in my sleep. But I had this aha moment when I was working on something regarding marketing, and I was like, oh, I'm the marketing strategist here. So it really was I set the strategy. I don't wait for it to get passed down to me. Like it's me. So it was really that shift from an employee mindset to getting goals kind of, given to me, kind of passed down through the organization to me understanding, okay, I set the goals. I'm setting the strategy. I passed the vision. And so just shifting from that employee mindset to a business owner was like the aha moment for me. And so I'm still learning it, obviously. But yeah, just that shift and realizing, oh, I'm the marketing person. I'm the IT person. I'm the finance person. What do I want to do? What does that look like? So I think that was the the thing I learned the most this year.
Okay. So what are your goals for your business? Like, what do you envision your business 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road?
Yeah, that's a great question. And because one of the things that I've been learning over this year is to evolve. Like I'm constantly kind of thinking and reiterating about where I want to take the business. Last year, I was very broadly focused on, everything within HR, serving anybody and everyone. But over the years, I just started to kind of narrow the focus a little bit, not necessarily narrow, but get more focused on really helping small business leaders. So part of my tagline is like, I feel like I serve the underserved, because a lot of times when you think about leadership development, executive coaching, talent pipeline, succession plans, that's really geared towards like CEOs of large companies, but small businesses need the same thing. And then my experience as a manager and director in a company as a Black female, like that was hard. Like I experienced microaggression, workplace bullying, all the things. And so I want to help that population just navigate, because I had to, figure out how to navigate that. So I want to take what I learned and help serve those two populations. So, in 5, 10, 20 years, I mean, hopefully I'm doing more of that, not just locally in the CSRA, maybe nationally, maybe even globally. We'd love to have a team of professionals with me that we're taking those resources from larger companies and trying to serve those specific targeted markets. Because when you think about small business leaders, I mean, they serve a lot. They do a lot and have a big impact in our communities, and large corporations as well too, not knocking that, but if there's something that I can do to help serve someone else, I definitely want to do that.
I love it. I love it. Okay. And I agree with that. Just since I've owned several businesses throughout the years, just in trial and error, I realized I didn't like some things. I'm like, yeah, nope, that's not for me.
Yeah.
And and I agree, small businesses, they do need that HR support. They do need that leadership development. It's amazing how many small business owner you see out there, and they're like, oh, I just throw myself on Indeed, and and I just let Indeed do whatever what it's going to do.
Right.
So that is awesome. Okay. Yeah. So you're dealing with HR and you're doing leadership development, and we now know AI is here, and AI is probably won't go anywhere. Yeah. How do you see, the different things with AI affecting your business?
Yeah. So I think that, I use AI. I mean, it's amazing. I use ChatGPT, a lot. I mean, I had to learn it, and I still do a lot of editing. I use it for when I'm writing. So one thing I learned about being an entrepreneur, like it takes a lot of creative energy to write everything. All the marketing, those are stuff, copy that you have to write. And so if I can use ChatGPT to help me kind of figure that piece out, I'm gonna use the technology to my benefit. So I think that's just the mindset that we need to have. Like, how can this tool help us? I feel like there's always, we don't employ robots, at least not yet.
And not yet. Although sometimes I think it may be coming, but
yeah. Sometimes it may be easier to employ robots because they won't call out.
I know.
But I think that there's always going to be a level of just creativity and human interaction that's needed. So I try to go into, okay, how can this help from just setting up a system, some automations that could free me to do something else. So what administrative, menial, trivial tasks can be done by technology that would free me up to maybe pursue a certification that I hadn't thought about that I can actually use. So I think just trying to help leaders understand too that, we always have to keep evolving and improving. And then how do we leverage technology in that effort?
Okay. I love it. I love it. Okay. So we're going to focus on your business for a second.
Okay.
So I'll use me as an example.
Okay.
I want to hire you. What does your process look like for your business? Like, can you walk us kind of through a general overview of your process?
So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. But anyone can go to, my website, TalentWorksInsights.com, or send me an email. Just Gia, Gia at TalentWorksInsights.com, and then let me know what you need, and we can kind of figure out what service or package would work for you. So I do offer one-on-one coaching Then I just rolled out a new service this year called HR Office Hours. And it's for the small business leader that may not have an HR staff, may not have a large staff. And they just need to phone an HR friend just a couple times a month. So they don't need a full-time person, but they still need to know, okay, can I really legally fire this person? Or I'm about to put this job on Indeed. Does it make sense? Or I'm starting to scale. What does that look like? Or I have no employees. I just have contractors. Though I would say for those people that think that they don't need HR because they have contractors, there's still people you have to manage, even if it's through a contractual relationship. You still need to have communication. You still need to have expectations set. So I think there's always some level of HR needed. So the HR office hours I'm hoping it'll be a service that will really benefit small business leaders that may just need to touch base just a couple times a month. And I would try to have like a monthly check-in, and then give you any type of insights that might help your organization. So those are the two ways: the coaching, HR office hours. I've done project work. So if you know that, okay, I need a new handbook, or I want to have my recruiting system reviewed, or I need some new policies, then we can kind of scope that out and see what that looks like.
Okay. Now you touched on something that is very, very important that I think a lot of small business owners miss: policies.
Yeah.
you know, there are a lot of, and I even run into it, and with my clients is I'm like, okay, what's your policy for this? What's your policy for that? What's your policy for this? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I didn't know I was supposed to need a policy. And so, you mentioned your policy. So do you write the policy for them, or you just kind of guide them in their policies?
So I can do both. It just depends on what they already have, and what they're looking for as well. So I try to talk to them, especially if they're just getting started and are just starting to hire. I start to talk to them about, okay, what type of culture do you want to set? Because your policies really should be in line with the culture that you're trying to set. It's not that you're trying to police your employees. I mean, you want to treat them as an adult, knowing that sometimes you might have some employees that don't act like an adult. But at the end of the day, your policy should reflect the culture that you're trying to create. So with some clients, I just revise some policies that they've had that they may not have looked at for years, and they knew they needed to, they just hadn't had a chance to. So in that, we just set up some working sessions, and I just make some general updates, and review it with them, and we kind of go back and forth a couple times, and then work with them on developing a communication to roll it out to their employees. For others, they may not have anything. And so, okay, where do I start? And so, okay, let's just talk about, working hours or paycheck. Those are usually what are the most important things to your employees? They want to know when they have to come to work, how they need to dress, when are they going to get paid, how do they get paid? So just start with the basics, and then you can start to build on that.
Okay. So we're going to get a little bit more in your business. So since you've been doing this, what has been what has been the most intriguing thing that you've come across? Intriguing. That you get these clients and not necessarily what they do, but something you probably would have never thought of that a person would have needed from HR.
I would say, I think it's just I don't know if this is intriguing or not, but I think working with leaders and clients over the past year, just how much they need a sounding board. Okay. And they need to know, because if you think about if you're a small business leader, you may be doing a performance evaluation on your employees, but who's doing a performance evaluation for you? So sometimes they just want to know, how am I doing? Am I communicating clearly to my team, to my clients? who's holding me accountable. Sometimes they need the affirmation and just the validation, like, you're doing this. It's not perfect. You're going to continue to evolve, but you're leading your business. You have a team, you're growing, you're doing what needs to be done, even though it might feel like you're just putting out fires all day long. You're doing a good job. You're doing the best that you can with what you have. So I think that for me has been the most intriguing over the year, that small business leaders, they just need that sounding board, but also somebody to tell them you're doing okay. Like, it's okay. We'll get through this. You're doing all right.
I like that, and it amazes me, how, like you said, we as business owners and leaders, we evaluate our employees, but we don't really have anybody to come into. Like,
Right.
I'll tell I have my independent contractor is my oldest son, but I tell him, look, if I'm doing something wrong, tell me, because
Right.
I can't fix what I don't know.
Yes.
And I love that. You see that more and more business owners are they want to know.
Yeah, they do. You want that feedback too. And I think you brought up a really good point that your employee is your son, but as a parent, like, you don't really know how you're doing until they get older, right? So it's like a delayed feedback.
Right. And sometimes they don't want to give you that feedback.
Right.
For you're my mom. I can't say this to you.
Right. You get punished.
Right. So I get that. Okay. So I'm gonna ask, and what makes your business unique? Like, what makes your business unique from any other HR firm that's out there?
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of great HR firms out there too. But I think for me, I have 20 years of HR and leadership experience. And one of the things that served me well in the corporate space was really taking the time to learn the business, learn what the business strategy is, what are the business indicators, and taking that and marrying that with my people and HR knowledge. And I would use that to give counsel to leaders. I think I was able to move at their speed, move at their pace, and also speak their language. And so I think that helped me to develop trust. That's pretty key when you're talking about HR. So I think taking those skill sets, what I did, and using that to serve small business leaders, is kind of like what makes me stand out. And I think, as I mentioned before, for the middle manager, especially those, and I'll obviously work with all middle managers. And when I talk about middle managers, I mean, you think about an organizational hierarchy. Like, you as a leader have a team, but then you also report into a leader. So you're kind of at the middle of that organization. And sometimes middle managers, I mean, it's just constant communication overload, shifting priorities, or managing team dynamics. It can be a hard place to lead from, but it's so critically important when you think of an organization. It's either medium or larger. Just that flow of information. A senior leader and a CEO will set the strategy, and you have your employees that actually execute. But that information, how they do it, comes from the middle manager. So it's a crucial element for businesses. And so that's been my experience over the years. And then as a Black female, I mean, I was the only many times, as I mentioned before, just dealing with the microaggression, the workplace bullying. Like, it's hard. It can get to you mentally and emotionally. So just taking my experiences again and helping other middle managers, other Black female professionals kind of navigate that is where I feel like I could set myself apart from others.
Great. Thank you. Well, I do want to say welcome, everybody. This is First Thursday Live with Miss Gia Hunter. We will, I cannot talk today. Please feel free to visit us on our website at mygadc.org. And Miss Gia, I'm going to ask you, I want to know, what's the biggest lesson you've learned throughout your entrepreneurial journey? Like, what's that one thing that you've learned that will always stick with you?
I'm the brand. And I think as I grow and scale, anyone that I hire is a reflection of my brand. So that was one of my aha moments as well, just understanding I set the strategy and I'm the brand. So
You're the brand. I like that. And a lot of people don't realize that,
yeah,
they think, well, the business is a brand. Well, no, it's,
yeah,
you are a reflection of your
yeah,
business.
you're an extension of that. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's good. That is excellent. So what advice would you give aspiring entrepreneurs?
Um, I would say progress over perfection. If you're a perfectionist like me, you want all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed. But sometimes you just have to move and learn, take some action and learn as you go and pivot. So yeah, so I would say for me, it's just the understanding that you're going to wear multiple hats. And even though I say, okay, I'm focusing now on small business leaders and Black female middle managers, I don't know if that's going to be the case next year or 5 years from now. So it might change. So just being flexible and willing to adapt and pivot and just progress over perfection.
I like that. I absolutely like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I know a while back, one morning I just so happened to be looking at the news, and I saw that you were I can't remember where you was speaking at, but you was a speaker somewhere.
Okay.
Broadcasted on the news. So any events you got going on that you want to put out to?
No, not. Oh, actually, there's one. I'm going to be a vendor at. It's a ministry mixer. I think the organization is the Preaching Executive, so preachingexecutive.com. It's at the Pinnacle Club on March 14th. I think it's in the evening. So I'll be a vendor there. And because I do want to help faith-based organizations as well. They need HR as well. If you're a church and you have a staff, you need HR as well. Some of my clients last year were churches. So I'll be there in March. I think I have some others like kind of later in the year. So
later in the year. Okay. All right. So how can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, I would love to talk and chat with anyone. So my website is talentworksinsights.com. It has all my information on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TalentWorks Insights. Or you connect with me under my name on LinkedIn, Gia Hunter. Or you can email me, Gia, at talentworksinsights.com.
Okay. So now I'm going to kind of open it up to you. What do you want the audience to know about you that you haven't told us already? Whether it's you or your business, or this is your time to market yourself.
No pressure. No pressure. So yeah, so I think just to, my, I have 20 years of HR and leadership experience, and I would love to, serve the underserved, small business leaders and Black female professionals. I think the thing that I have not said, but is very important to my faith is very important to me. I am a disciple of Jesus Christ, period. And I try to bring that into, how I coach and how I lead as well. I mean, I feel like Jesus was the ultimate example of leadership. So I try to take those principles, even though you may not realize you're getting some Bible, you do, but I try to take some of those principles into helping leaders. So I think leaders should pray and disciple their team. So I do kind of bring that into some of what I offer to people.
Okay. All right. All right then. Okay, so one last time I want you to give people, because I saw some people kind of popped in, and
okay.
Your contact information one more time for us.
Yep. So my website is talentworksinsights.com and has all my information on there. And then you can also connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at TalentWorks Insights. Or you could email me, Gia, Gia, at talentworksinsights.com. Thank you, Tandrika, for having me as well. I appreciate it.
But we're not done. So I got one more question for you. I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Being HR and being with social media, because I mean we're on social media, we're streaming out to Facebook and LinkedIn and all that. So what are your thoughts with HR, like when you coach your clients about using social media for different things such as recruitment, or, investigating their potential clients, not clients, employees. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, how do you coach and you don't have to get too much, you don't have to get too much information. I know this is what you do, but like, what are your thoughts on that?
So using social media to kind of investigate someone?
Yeah. Yep. Like, but when they do background, and the reason why I ask is because I've come across a few people where, you hire the potential applicant and they essentially go out to the social media pages, see what they can find on their social media pages, scroll them or what have you. And I know at some point, they kind of get into some legalities of all of that, but you just being an HR professional. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, so HR and legal can be kind of tied closely together. I remember when I was in corporate America, I was very close to our employment counsel. So I would caution a leader that's investigating through like social media. So I think, yes, it can give you some insight. I know people want to do it and naturally do it. I would just say, I think if you have strong recruiting processes and you're able to interview well, then depending on how the questions that you ask, if you do a panel, if you do solo, if you give them exercises to do to show that they can do the job or not, that's really, I think, the crux of it versus going onto somebody's, social media. So I understand people want to do that because it's so accessible. But I would just caution, I think that we all make mistakes sometimes on social media as well. So, you don't want to, judge someone too harshly that really could be a great person for your team. They might just need some grooming and development. And so you could be limiting yourself by only focusing on social media.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So one last question. You do coaching, right? Yeah. What does your coaching entail? Do you coach HR professionals or leaders on interview processes, interviewing? Is it just the strategy part of it? What does your coaching entail?
It depends on what the person is looking for. So I have an assessment, and I ask them a series of questions on, what are their goals? So are they trying to be better as a leader, be better as an HR professional? So it really just depends on what their goals are. And so I'm just the guide really to help them get to, yeah. So it kind of depends on what their goals are.
Okay. All right. Which is understandable. I just know some HR, they're focusing on interviewing and strategy. And, when you're looking at some leaders, there's some leaders that don't know how to interview.
There's a lot. Yeah.
So is there anything in the HR realm that you don't do?
So I'm not a temp agency, so I'm not going to necessarily go find you employees in terms of like interviewing, looking at applications, things like that. I'll do the recruiting. I'll look at your process and give you advice and counsel on maybe how you can change it up, but I'm not actually the one going to be doing the recruiting for you. I also don't run payroll. That's not my gift. So I'm not going to run payroll for you. I can help you find a payroll provider and make sure you're paying your employees correctly, and get you connected to the people that can do payroll. But so really just I'm not necessarily a recruiter per se, and I'm not a payroll person, but I can look at your strategy, your process, make sure that you're in compliance, things like that.
Okay. All righty. All right. So one last time, anything you want to share with the audience that you can think of?
I think we covered pretty much everything. Just, just to reiterate, I serve the underserved. So focusing on small business leaders, giving them the help and support that they need, the affirmation and validation that they need as a leader. And then helping Black female professionals navigate the complexities of corporate America. I actually have a podcast coming out, hopefully in March. So I'm going to be getting a little bit gritty and talking through my experiences and providing just some encouragement, some strategy, some tactics on how Black women can navigate corporate America. So.
Okay, I like it. So when you get the podcast ready, we got to make sure we get it out to everybody for
I'll let
you.
y'all know. Yes, I'll let y'all
Excellent, excellent. Now I'm gonna sit on some of those podcasts myself.
Okay.
Well, I would like to say thank you, Miss Gia.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
For all of you, please visit our website, mygabc.org. For all of our events with the chamber, the live will be posted here in a little while to all the Facebook, LinkedIn, and the YouTube pages. And I will bid you guys, well, I'm sorry, not you guys, everyone. I have to stop doing that. I will bid everyone adieu. Enjoy your evening, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.